21st century literature.
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 Good day, everyone. I'm Wayne.
And I'm Edward.
And we are proud
homegrown Bulakeños. Do you think they know much about our region, Region 3?
We're pretty famous, you know?
Yes, but do they actually know about us?
Maybe they know that our province is one of the 7 provinces situated at Central Luzon. Our region also produces most of the country's rice supplies, earning a title as the rice granary of the Philippines.
That's too common. How about I tell them something about our culture?
Go ahead, I'll just finish reading this.
If you guys have heard of the Obando Fertility Rites and the Giant Lantern Festival, well, I am proud to tell you that it is us who host these festivities. Region 3, or Central Luzon, is known to have a diverse culture and colorful traditions. Amongst us are some of the ethno-linguistic groups in the Philippines.
Hey, Edward. I just finished reading Florante at Laura. I just realized we had a townmate to be proud of in the field of literature.
What do you mean?
Francisco Baltasar, commonly known as Francisco Balagtas, came from a town here in our province. He is from Balagtas, Bulacan. Not that he only wrote the Florante at Laura, he also wrote some lists of comedies. Another notable Bulaqueño writer who is Amado V. Hernandez. He is from Hagonoy, to be particular. This Filipino novelist had a lot of contribution when it comes to the history of Philippine literature. Amado V. Hernandez wrote the Kung Tuyo na ang Luha Mo, Aking Bayan, which portrays the war cry and the lack of peace of our country since the issue happened in Manila during the 1890s.
I agree. My grandma told me that the literary piece contributed to the peace and prosperity of the nation, since it is about the country's experiences during the rough times. The line, masdan mo ang iyong lupa, dayong hukboy nakatanod, masdan mo ang iyong dagat, dayong bapor nasa laot, meant everything to the well-being and welfare of the nation. To rise up and to treasure our own culture and territory is the focal point of the whole poem. Thus, if we study and appreciate any other more of our own literature, we can trace the rich heritage handed down to us by our forefathers.
My name is Kenneth.
And my name is Cheska.
Cheska, where exactly in Region 4A are you from?
I was born in Laguna but lived most of my life here in Batangas.
Oh, so you're very familiar with the provinces here in Region 4A.
Of course, how can I not know that the Region 4 is initially a one region but eventually got divided into 2 in accordance to Executive Order Number 103. The first part is the Calabarzon region consisting of Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Rizal, and Quezon. And the second part is the Mimaropa region consisting of Oriental and Occidental Mindoro, Marinduque, Romblon, and Palawan.
Well, to begin with, let's start with Region 4A, or the Calabarzon's culture. Did you know that the Calabarzon, or Region 4A, is known for their distinct and unique culture and traditions? On occasion or normal days, people in this area would eat on banana leaves rather than normal plates. They also like putting a lot of coconut in their dishes. Children are often led to the coffin before the burial itself. In this area, there are a lot of lively and colorful festivals. To name some of the festivals, we have the Pahiyas Festival in Lucban. We have the Gigantes Festival situated in Angono region. And we also have the Parada ng Lechon in Balayan. But the Calabarzon area or Region 4A is not only known for this culture and traditions, but for its literature.
When talking about literature, Region 4A is proud to say that we have grown some of the most notable writers in Philippine literature. Not to brag, but Laguna is the hometown of the famous writer of the novels Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. I'm sure you all know about him, Dr. Jose Rizal. Our region is also the home of writers Bienvenido Lumbera, Paz Marquez Benitez, and Maestro Lucio Di San Pedro. But when talking about literary works, one of the most famous masterpieces is the comics Darna, written by Mars Ravelo, who is a Caviteño.
Cheska, have you read Darna and his comics?
Of course, it was indeed the masterpiece. It showed how rich and deep our literature is, not only through those wild imagination in creating stories, but also through his creativity in those illustrations.
I also like how it represents peace and prosperity in the form of a woman. How women and men can show themselves how to provide peace and prosperity by being an ordinary person.
Baba Nam Kevalam, Baba Nam Kevalam, Baba Nam Kevalam, Baba Nam Kevalam, Baba Nam, 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 Baba Nam Kevalam.
Hi, I'm Shaula.
And I'm LA.
And we are proud homegrowns of Mimaropa.
I am from the largest province in the country, the province of Palawan.
And I am from the 7th largest island in the country, Mindoro.
I'm sure they've all heard something about our region, but let me share things not everyone knows. On the other side of the Fort region lies another unique and distinct culture and traditions. Like Region 4A, they also have their own specialties, namely bibingka na laki, adobo sa gata, ulang-ulang, and many more. When it comes to festivities and celebration, the Mimaropa region is definitely not the least. Proudly presenting the Marianas Festival, which is an annual festival during Holy Week. It is a reenactment of the story of Saint Longinus, a Roman centurion who was blind in one eye.
Have you told them how rich our literature is?
No, I'm not fond of those things, so maybe you could tell them about those.
Sure. Have you heard about the winds of April, or the 7 hills away, or maybe the bamboo dances? Well, they're just a few of the many notable works of the notable writer in Romblon and Greece in Oriental Mindoro, Nestor Vicente Madali Gonzales. This notable writer earned a number of awards for his contribution to the Philippine literature. He was awarded with the Republic Award of Merit in 1954, Republic Cultural Heritage in 1960, National Award for Literature in 1997, and Philippine Centennial Award for Literature in 1998. With his incredible skills in writing, he has earned the honor for his beloved region, Region 4B.
Mars Ravelo is a famous Caviteño comic book cartoonist and graphic novelist born on October 9, 1916. Ravelo started out as a cartoonist, then became a writer, and eventually became the editor-in-chief of 2 publishing companies. Not long after, he decided to put up his own company called RAR. He is known for his artistic way of expressing his works, and because of this, he became the highest-paid comic artist of his time. To name a few of his well-known masterpieces, we have Jezebel, Captain Barbell, and Lastic Man. These are some of his notable works which also became famous on national television. Due to his outstanding skill in this field, he earned the title King of Philippine Comics. However, all of his successful works, there is this one piece that cannot be forgotten by any homegrown Filipino, Darna.
The story of Darna starts from an ordinary woman named Narda. Assessing Narda, she's very much like a typical woman that you would see on a normal day. But that's before she transforms. Darna is about the story of an alien who exactly looks and acts like a woman. She's an out-of-this-world organism but is not harmful. Narda has a sidekick named Ding who always gives the white stone to her whenever she needs it. The white stone is the thing that she swallows before screaming Darna whenever she transforms. Once Narda becomes Darna, she is now a superhero who fights crimes and different forces of evil. Some of Darna's greatest enemies are Valentina, ang babaeng linta, and ang babaeng tuod. This masterpiece of Mars Ravelo had different movies containing different stories about Darna's adventure. But in general, Darna is Filipino heroine who fights crimes and evil forces with her out-of-this-world powers and skills.
There are 2 sides of a woman that was portrayed by the main character in the story. First is the ordinary side of a woman. Narda, the ordinary persona of the main character, portrays the role of a typical woman. Narda is the epitome of how people normally see women. People often perceive a woman as the weaker part of the society. And aside from being a woman, Narda is a disabled woman which adds to her weak appearance. Narda is how people judge a woman by their appearance, but Darna is how a woman actually is.
A woman has this hidden strength not everyone knows. A woman is just as strong and bold, especially on times when they need to be. This just proves that there is no superior gender, and that women shouldn't be belittled, for they hold a strength only fellow women knows about. If the main character was a male, I think that the comics won't have much impact as it currently have, for men are perceived as naturally strong people. A touch of supernatural powers would be amazing, but it is not as exciting as having a woman as the main character. This work of Mars Ravelo conveys a message for everyone.
And that we should not judge someone by their gender and appearance.
For each and every one of us has our own strengths.
And that no one should be superior than the other.
How would you define 21st century literature? What is your opinion on 21st century literature?
I think 21st century literature is something that it is really dynamic. When it comes to literature, it's really emerging from being from a simple one to from the most dynamic one. And I think through 21st literature, this is where we learn something. This is where we share our talents, our capabilities, and for that, I think as a youth, it is really important for us to be aware of this because this is where we can share everything we have. That's all.
In your opinion, how do life and literature relate to one another?
Of course, in my opinion, first, literature is one of the most important thing in life because literature in many ways helps us understand how people relate to one another, how we as a person evolve. The importance of life, of literature and life I guess, is we can more understand how we evolve through the literature of the different people, through the writings of different people, through the opinions, the comments, and the cultures of different people. And life, they say life is like a storybook. Why? When you meet people, for example, you are in a relationship, then like me, actually, I've been in a relationship for almost 2 years already. And the most exciting part is, this was 4 years ago. Okay, 4 years ago I was in a relationship for 2 years, and the most exciting part is, I planned to propose. That's the most exciting part. I planned to propose, but then again, as I've said, life is like a storybook. There are genres, there are chapters that at some point you cannot predict. I was rejected that time. Oh, how sad that story. That's my life. And as I've said, life is like a storybook. You'll realize at the end of the story that that person is just one chapter of that book. That person is just one chapter, or I guess another chapter of your book. And it will not end there. You'll realize how important and how fascinating your life is, because you'll realize that there is more in life. That all in life is grace, and you'll realize that, you'll understand that through literature.